I feel like we're moving away from the era of filler and I don't know. I was going to say even like surgeries, but I feel like we're moving into this really natural era where skin is everything.
Absolutely.
And I always say like skin is the foundation. And I've been really open about all of the things that I've done over the years. And I get a lot of pushback and feedback that it's a result of, surgeries or procedures. And I'm like, no. There aren't surgeries that can
help with the skin.
No. And your skin is your canvas. It's your foundation. And then you can do these other things.
Absolutely.
And it helps to really kind of bring that out and be the cherry on top. But you, like I said, are very into the science. You have a biomedical background. And we're going to be talking all about the skin. But I love how you emphasize, like, what even is the role of the skin? Because beyond what it looks like, the health of our skin is so important for other reasons. So let's start there.
So there's a physical component of it. So the skin is the largest organ we have. So it's designed to protect your organs from pathogens, right? So it's a barrier. So most of the time people think the skin is not a sponge, it doesn't absorb. It absorbs some things, but it's meant to keep things out. So number one. But psychologically, the skin is also the first thing people notice because it has the most, I guess, real estate on your body. So it's the first thing people notice. So if you have great skin, I think we all know what having a good skin day really feels like. And I think that's really what we try to do with our products, especially just to help people feel really, really good. Because I think when you feel really good, when you're in that full alignment, is where you feel really powerful. Then it really doesn't matter how you look or how many wrinkles you have, all that. Like that feeling good part, that's the thing that I've been really focused on.
Yeah. And you have a lot of experience with this because you've been through your own trauma, right? You had to have reconstructive surgery and that kind of set you on this path. And I'm sure a lot of people listening who haven't had that exact experience have the experience of having breakouts or having wrinkles or having whatever their concern is and knowing how that affects you because your skin, especially your face, that's what you're presenting to the world. That's what people are seeing. So I would love for you to share, if you'd be willing, a little bit about that experience and how that changed the trajectory of your life.
Yeah. So when I was 19, I had a really severe accident. I smashed my face and I needed to have reconstructive surgery. And I picked what I thought was a good surgeon. But he ended up butchering my face, so I had multiple infections. I had necrosis where the infection was eating the flesh on my skin. So I had holes in my face. It was after many failed surgeries and a failed suicide attempt that I needed to see a therapist. And my therapist said, okay, let's assume you have to be here. Let's make a list of all the things you want to accomplish by the time you're 30. What does that list look like? And it was then that I realized, if I was hating myself every day, crawling out of my skin every day, then maybe other people would. And it just so happened that my background's in biomedical and pharmaceutical science. So I combined that and my desire to really just help people feel really good about themselves into a range of products that will deliver visible results. And it was also during that time when I was dealing with infections and necrosis where my doctors basically said, you can't do anything. You really have to heal. You really have to take care of your skin because when your skin is healthy and pliable, that's when we will have more options to fix the dents and the holes in your face. And that's also when I started discovering things like active ingredients like epidermal growth factors and copper tripeptide that, when I was I'm 37 now. So when I was 19, that was like many, many years ago. I started looking at all these active ingredients that would really help to regenerate the skin and help with skin longevity before even if it was a buzzword. So now longevity is this thing that people use all the time. But I was always fascinated by that from the very beginning because of what I went through. So I guess in this lifetime, everything that I've been through has led me on this path.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. I mean, what better thing to drive your purpose, right, than turning your pain into something useful for other people?
I feel incredibly fortunate to be able to turn my pain into a business. Because I also know how fortunate I am to be able to be in that position because a lot of times people just have their pain.
I'm looking at you. Again, I'm still like transfixed by your skin, but you're talking about holes and I don't see anything. So what did you do to heal yourself from that necrosis? I mean, that can be devastating.
Yeah, it was really devastating. So what I really did was to really focus on just healing the barrier because you really have to protect the barrier. So it's using a lot of growth factors because that's what was doing in the doctor's office. Hyperbaric oxygen, that was the thing that if you have access to it, that really helps with like burns, also helps with necrosis, also help with tissue repair. So that was something that I had the opportunity to invest in. And so for me, I am also at this stage where because of what I went through and I had multiple infections in which I had also multiple surgeries. I remember there was a year where I had like 2 surgeries every year back to back, and it was really, really traumatic, and I didn't get the result that I wanted. And I also realized now, looking back, that it was because of how I felt about myself. So I was rushing into it. So if I could go back, I would tell myself that I would, take it easy and really speak to as many doctors as possible. It's really kind of like dating. And you just have to just find the ones that will maybe tell you what you don't want to hear. Because I think very often we always gravitate towards the people that tell you what you want to hear. And that's how I got myself into trouble.
Yeah, I think that's such an important message for people to hear because, although your situation was different from somebody going to get elective surgery or something, we all want that instant gratification. And if you're going to somebody, whether it's an injector or a surgeon, to alter something that you have, an issue with, if you're going to somebody to fix something that you're insecure about, you want it to be fixed then and there. Right. And it's really important that if you're being told no, to pause and listen to that, because that's how people get themselves into trouble.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I think I was so fixated on trying to fix it that I just picked a doctor that was just, at that time I didn't know that he probably just he had no experience. And he just said, yeah, I could do everything. And you know what the biggest red flag was? When I said, do you have photos? He was like, oh yeah, I've done a lot of it. And I just took his word for it.
Though, I don't think that burden should have been on you.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. So many people find themselves in that situation. It's so hard to find good providers and to know who is good and who isn't. And the burden is really on the patient to figure that out. And there's a lot of really good marketing and things like that now when it comes to skincare too, just to tie it all in. So it's really important to, find providers, find products, find businesses that really have the
integrity.
The integrity, exactly. Yeah. That's such a good word for it.
Yeah. And also just it's okay if a doctor tells you no, and you have to ask yourself why they're saying no, because usually what happens if somebody tells you no, you know what you do? You just go find someone who'll say yes. And even if it takes 5 visits, you'll find. But then why is that person saying yes when all the other 5 doctors have said no? I think that's the thing that we really need to think about.
I have friends that are plastic surgeons and they don't give me any details, but they have patients like that where they say no, and then the person goes and finds somebody who says yes, and then they go back to that original doctor with their tail between their legs to get whatever it was fixed that got botched.
Which is so much harder.
So much harder. Yeah. Yeah. I think everyone needs to take a beat. And I know people are going to comment on this and tell me that I should have listened to my own advice or something.